So today I want to talk about progress, not perfection. This is going to be a little simple. I wanted to read something that I read out of this book and then kind of expound on it. So it says progress can be hard to recognize, especially if your expectations are unrealistically high. If we expect negative attitudes or unhealthy behavior to change quickly and completely, we're likely to be disappointed. Progress is hard to see when we measure ourselves against idealized standards. Perhaps it would be better to compare our present circumstances only to where we had been in the past. So I think of that when I talk about this. I spoke to my sister today, and she's not a phone person, she's not a contact person, and I miss her, and she just won't contact. Alright, so I'm back. So I was talking to my sister, and I was telling her that, I have to check my motives and my expectations. When you have motives and expectations, that's when you have certain standards for certain people. And that's not where I want to be, of course, like I say all the time. So the notes that I talked about, remember in school when we said practice makes perfect? I had to change that around too, because what are you practicing to be perfect at, right? And so I remember learning in class, well-guided practice makes perfect, which is good. And then I was like, yeah, but my goal is not to be perfect. So my thing is progress, not perfection. And something that I heard was perfection kills progress, and done is better than perfect. So you don't have to put off things. So when I start to check my motives, I start looking at what are my expectations, because I'm having too many unrealistic expectations of other people. For example, I called my nephew today. I've called him back in August, and he hadn't returned my calls. I decided, instead of feeling resentment or feeling some sort of way, everybody's busy, they're 21, they're busy, I sent him a text. He was actually happy to hear from me, and that made me feel better. He told me thank you, and I told him I was just thinking about you. Didn't want anything, just wanted to know that I love you and I'm thinking about you. And that's the end of the story. I know he has a lot going on. I'm gonna pray for him. Have you ever tried to be so perfect at something that it just turns out to be like a flop? I think you just practice as best as you can and do the best that you can and leave it up to God. Like with these videos, I want to look perfect, I want to be perfect, but I can't be perfect. So that's the end of that story. Bye. Last thing I'll talk about is, my mom. I haven't heard from my mom in over, I think it was 6 months. She's mad at me for something. My mom told me she doesn't like confrontation, so she won't talk to me. So now I realize that she just won't have anything to do with me. My progress is I wrote a card, and I sent it to her. That's the end of the story. I don't want anything back. I just want her to know that I love her and I care about her. And that's the discussion that my sister and I had. It's hard to know that your mother's out there and not speaking to you when you look at everybody with what looks like the perfect family. But it could be the perfect family, but they don't really have that perfect. It's just the outlook for other people. So anyway, today I no longer seek perfection. The only thing that matters is the direction in which I'm moving. Thanks for listening. Smile. God got this.